WRAO-FM.
Whatever those are.
High definition.
Oh, is it? Okay. Joe Chaffee here, Fios 1 News, Long Island and New Jersey.
We're just picking out call letters if we ever went national or local with, if either one of us ever got enough money to buy a couple of radio stations.
KORN,
yeah.
corn.
High definition. Joe Rayo here, Fios 1, Lower Hudson Valley.
Okay, so let's address something right off the bat because, last night I had dinner at my mother's, and as Italian mothers like to do, dinner is whatever garlic plus whatever it is. Okay.
Okay.
So last night it was garlic with a little bit of chicken on it, garlic with a little bit of spinach on it, and garlic with a few other things. The bottom line was I bolted up out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was up half the night. Could not sleep because of that screaming wind. Where did that come from last night?
I don't know. That's I mean, we knew that there was going to be some kind of a weather system, a weather front moving on through, but we did not anticipate the 30, 40, maybe 45 mile per hour wind gusts that were happening last night.
Oh, easy. I mean, the wind out by me was howling.
And we have, my house, my wife is into palm trees, and she's got the driveway lined with 3 or 4 big palm trees. They all were on one side. They knocked the pot down, and the palm trees were on their side last night. And to do that takes a pretty good strong wind to do that, because those pots that she has the palm trees on are pretty damn heavy. But
I have 3 avocado trees. So she's into palm trees. I have avocado trees, and 2 of them are they're in pots, and 2 of them are about 4.5 feet high or so.
Right.
And they're kind of thin, but they were fine. They didn't budge, but the wind was just out of control.
Unbelievable.
All right, so now we've got another shot of cold air coming in for tomorrow, Joe, and I think that sets up fairly straightforward. I got to mention that there could be a shower or 2 tomorrow afternoon, but not really anticipating any big deal as far as that's concerned, unless you see it differently.
You and I are a little bit different on this, because when I got in today and I took a look at a few of the models and thing, I asked in general, you and Addison Green and Brittany Bohr, I said, what are the odds that we'll see maybe at least a couple of wet snowflakes somewhere in the Hudson Valley? And it would not be surprising if we did, but yeah, a couple of showers tomorrow in the afternoon after the front moves on by, and that's really when the wind is going to rev up again. The morning will start tomorrow probably with a lot of sunshine, rather tranquil, light winds, not much to say, but when we have the front actually approaching and moving through early afternoon tomorrow, who knows, we might see something like what we had last night or early this morning in terms of strong and gusty winds, cloud cover, and maybe even a couple of showers of rain. Or
yeah, look, I'm not gonna argue certainly for some elevated areas up in northern Orange County or up into Sullivan County. Yeah, there probably could be a few wet snowflakes.
Right.
You can't see it. I was trying to make the font bigger, so you're just gonna have to take our word for it. Temperatures really aren't going very anywhere tonight, so we're in the 40s and 50s. The warm-ups in between air masses are going to be subpar going forward. The warm-ups will entail temperatures getting back into the lower 60s and probably not much higher than that. I think that's a fair assessment.
I think so too. I think Saturday 61, 62 in the Hudson Valley on average, but then right back down to only around 50 on Sunday with another wave of wind and cold arriving. And frost and freeze advisories. Now, maybe tomorrow night, although I think the winds will still be rather strong to worry about any kind of frost conditions, but certainly
Thursday night, Friday
morning will be the night when we may very well see frost and freeze advisory. We already had a frost advisory on Saturday afternoon. There was one that was posted for Saturday night, Sunday. Really didn't do all that much, but this is a more prolific punch, if you will, of cold air that's heading this way.
Right. No snow flakes in New York City tomorrow. I saw, I think Nicholas Isabella was asking that question.
Well, maybe not for us, but do you think perhaps there'll be some snow bands off of the Great Lakes for western New York?
Oh, sure. And, I think wind chill is going to be an issue tomorrow night. Get down into the 30s, it'll probably feel like like it's down in the 20s.
And that wind, again, may preclude any kind of frost advisory that may go into effect for tomorrow night, but certainly Thursday night, Friday morning. That looks like the coldest night so far this season.
So, looking at the jet stream pattern from the late afternoon GFS, it's pretty much the same going into next week. Ridge in the west, trough in the east, and it lifts out, and then we get one of those brief warm-ups Saturday. Here comes the next shot. The shot for Sunday into Monday looks like it's the coldest of the bunch, and then that lifts out, and then after that it gets a little dicey, if only from the standpoint of it looks like we've got something evolving here over time, and I think this leads to possibilities that we may finish the month with some kind of storm system here in the eastern states. You look at that upper air, and it certainly, speaks to the possibility of something impacting us along about the 29th or the 30th, or maybe 28th, 29th, 30th, right in
October
that
29th,
time frame.
October 29th, a date that will live in infamy for two occasions. The 29th in 2011,
right,
that was the one that brought the snow, the unusually early snowfall, heavy snows in parts of the Hudson Valley, and also in portions of northern and western New Jersey as well. And then a year later, the 29th of October 2012, this will be, the 6th anniversary of Sandy. So that 29th of October, for whatever reason...
And then the Halloween storm on Halloween
1991.
Yeah. So, there have been a number of strong storms that have occurred toward the end of the month of October. It looks like we're going into a pattern, somewhat blocky. There's a blocking signature that develops across the North Atlantic and then extends through the northern latitudes. We mentioned this last night as something to watch. I think the models are still at the point where they're kind of evolving with all of this. We could probably get a little more specific here. And let me just we started late tonight, so the time is just a bit limited. Let me get my little paint box up.
He loves his paint box.
Yes, I do.
You also like the Fun Factory with Play-Doh, I see, in your...
Oh, I hate Play-Doh. Anybody who has children knows when you have children, you don't have Play-Doh.
Yes, the aroma.
Oh yeah. So here's the upper air, and I've got it all kind of mapped out here so we can follow it along. This is for Saturday, when this next deep trough in the upper atmosphere, the jet stream. So if you look at the arrows there that I have drawn, that's basically where our air is coming from, and if you follow it backwards, it actually is coming up from northwestern Canada. So this is, fairly cold air. There's building snow cover in Canada that continues at a record pace, and this next shot of cold air comes in as the trough swings by, and you've got a strong ridge in the west. You have a trough down from the Aleutians down to just north of Hawaii, and then you got another trough in the Atlantic. But then as we move on, Joe, if we go back to now we're going to the middle of next week, suddenly you've got this big high that develops north of the Azores, and it sort of pins the vortex into eastern Canada. You still have this ridge and the trough off the west coast. I have the blue line. I meant to put the red line there for the trough.
Right.
But going further, we're using the European model here. You start to get you start to get to where we talked about last night, how it's sort of like the Harry Potter puzzle pieces, where they just keep morphing into different shapes.
Yes.
And I think that's what you're seeing here from model run to model run, where you're getting these pieces that are kind of morphing. But the thing that stands out to me is that you've got this blocking signature that's building across the polar regions, and I think that spells that could be problematic again toward the end of the month. How that happens, how it evolves. I think another thing to bring up, possibility, is I think we should watch this. If there's one place there'll be some tropical development, if it's going to happen, it'll probably be in the Caribbean. And I think we just have to kind of keep an eye down there in case we get a feed of tropical moisture that eventually winds up feeding northward. I don't think that's impossible.
Yeah, well, wasn't it Sandy in 2012 where we had this big block that developed over northeastern Canada? And that was eventually what caused Sandy to make that unusual curve to the left.
Right.
And I'm not saying that.
Well, there's nothing there now that says that that's going to be the case, but it seems like, when we look at the long range, regardless of which model run you have, you look at, you do see something that it tries to bring out. Now here, the late afternoon GFS, for example, brings this low out it takes it up to our west, but there's a long stretch here. There's probably some kind of second low on the occluded front down in Chesapeake Bay, and then that lifts up to the northeast.
That looks like a sou'easter, not a nor'easter.
Well, right, and it may very well be. And the other thing is, whatever happens, if it's something of magnitude, it's liable to bring down even colder air as we move into the month of November. I don't think it's unfair to say that at this point.
No, look at that. Look at the gradient that we had. This is for what now? This is for October 30th.
I know it's way out in the long range.
Yeah.
And again, who knows if that low is going to be there? Is it going to be near Lake Huron? Is it going to be down in Northern Virginia? Who knows?
James Bay.
Whatever. But yeah, or James Bay. But the bottom line is that something's going to come out of this with all this energy running around and that blocky signature that's up to the north.
And you know what, Joe? This is what? This is the 16th of October. We're talking about something that might happen or is portended to happen according to the longer range models around the 30th or 31st of October. And I don't know about you, 14 days, 2 weeks, there's just too much time for things to happen.
Right. I think the only thing we're speaking in generalities, and I think that's perfectly fair to do.
Right.
By the way, just in terms of the temperature anomalies going forward, I mean, it's except for, again, you get that brief day on Saturday where it gets to near or a shade above normal in the morning hours. By afternoon, we're already chilling down. Here comes your next shot of cold air. The warm-ups will continue to just be subpar. We're not seeing that ridge come back into the eastern part of the United States, so you can't warm the air up. It warms up for a day. Like tomorrow, we'll probably break 60 in most places, maybe get to 61 or 2.
Right.
And then in comes the next shot of cold air. So that is fairly consistent with what we're seeing going into the month of November.
It'll be very interesting to see, again, based upon what happened last night or early this morning, what happens with this very potent cold front that's coming our way for, again, early afternoon tomorrow. Again, your morning will be relatively tranquil and no real problems. It'll actually be rather sunny when you head on out to work and school, but right around lunchtime or early afternoon, that's when you're going to start noticing the ominous-looking clouds. The winds are going to start picking up. We may see a few showers, and then after the frontal passage, we'll see what happens. You think there may be any? I don't think there's going to be any convection, but maybe if there's enough forcing. At this point, I really don't.
I would probably argue against it, but then again, it did happen in some places last night down in South Jersey.
Right.
Mr. Rossby is on. A total pattern change. The European December, January, February long range has a cold, snowy forecast for our region. Well, I guess the snow lovers, Carl, would say to you, from your lips to God's ears, whether that holds or not remains to be seen. Europe, trying to think back to last year, I think the European long range for the second half of the winter actually did pretty well, if I remember correctly.
Right.
Mike Greco high, David Schwartz high, Tony Mangiello high, Jeannie Marie Lemulik high.
Timothy Veltman, a little grapple with the front. Again,
right, with a side of hash.
We'll see.
Jason Schaefer, Alf Fadil. I hope I said that right.
I don't miss the 80s for high.
No, neither do I, and neither does my hair. Just running to see if you guys have any questions. Let's see. Dave Paterno doesn't like this for some reason.
Yeah.
He has issues. Sorry, Dave. The Perfect Storm, who knows? Haven't used Play-Doh in over 30 years. I should hope not. That was the messiest. The thing about Play-Doh is when you were a kid, when you had kids, you didn't find the Play-Doh until years later,
right,
when it was buried somewhere.
Right.
And it would still smell the way it smelled the first day.
And second to Play-Doh was Silly Putty.
Yeah, I wasn't big on Silly Putty. And I am, Jason, a fan. I really liked the whole Harry Potter series. It was a lot of fun to watch. David Schwartz, speaking fashion, heavier coat on Thursday. Well, if 40s are an issue, then I would say, yeah, maybe.
In the UK, this is from Jason.
Jason SEO Smith. He's out in the UK, and he always keeps me posted on what's going on over there. I hope you're well. Watching while holding breath across the pond usually follows suit a week later, mirroring opposites as usual as high warm temps potential with Azores high before the cold snap after winter is coming. I don't know if you're going to get. I really didn't give it a close look, Jason. I did see a few people commenting that they didn't think that that Western and Northwestern Europe were going to start off cold like we are in the Eastern United States. But I'll give it a look tomorrow. I just haven't given it a closer look. Those are other people's opinions, so I'm just sort of relaying it. Right. Too early for snowstorms, Jason Barrett. Thank you, Dale Fitzgerald. Really appreciate it. Gregory Tobias. Gregory messages me all the time. Every time there's a chance of a snowflake in the 384-hour up in Wisconsin, I get the Gregory Tobias message. Look, if this pattern is cold the way it is, Greg, any time now you'll see your first snows up there if you haven't already.
He's in Wisconsin?
I believe so.
He should be more excited about the Brewers, the way they're playing. They could be a World Series this year, maybe. They have to take care of the Dodgers over the next few games, though.
When was the last time the Brewers won a series?
They've never won a World Series. They have been in the World Series just once in 1982. Interestingly, they were an American League team, and they lost to the National League Cardinals that year. So this would only be their second time if they make it as far as the World Series in the series, and we'll see how that all pans out for them. They originally started, by the way, as the 1969 expansion Seattle Pilots.
I remember that.
And then they changed to Milwaukee Brewers in 1970. So that's what you should be thinking about now. The great summer pastime, not winter snows. It's a little too early for that.
Okay, I'm just trying to go through the rest of the chat.
I will say also they're very smart in Milwaukee. I believe the ballpark they play in Milwaukee is a domed stadium or has a cover over it. So you can go to a ball game if it's like 20 degrees outside with snow. You can still watch a baseball game inside in 72-degree comfort.
Jason's happy I'm going to be in New Jersey tomorrow, so that's a good. This is a good point to remind everybody. I'll be at the Springfield Library in Springfield, New Jersey. In fact, let me just really quick. I can bring up their website, which is SFP. In fact, let me copy the link. I'll put the link in the chat, and you guys can take a look at it here. I'll be there tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, so we can talk all about this. I'm going to live stream, Joe, the live stream it. So you'll be able to watch it here. You said you watched the last one, and I'll be doing it on my YouTube channel. So you can watch it on my YouTube channel. And for those of you at home, just go to my YouTube channel, and if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is absolutely free, by the way, you can join in on the chat.
Free is good.
Free is good. And Patreon members, I'll get the link to you guys ahead of time as well, so you can participate in the chat if you're not coming out. And for those of you who are interested, you can take a look at the Patreon platform, where you get all sorts of posts and all kinds of things, including exclusive videos just for those of you that are on that platform. So just check it out, and it'll come in handy during the winter time. And there's also an app, by the way, so you can put it on your smartphone. Even Joe has a smartphone now, which is,
it's amazing.
I'm surprised that you cracked.
Well, my wife just kept beating on me until finally I caved.
It's easier to give in.
Yeah.
It's just simpler, Joe. Just I learned that it's just simpler.
And you know what happens when you ring me up? Literally, it sounds like an old-time phone. Ring. My daughter was the one who picked out that ringtone for me. I appreciate that.
Well, that is awesome. It's very thoughtful.
Yes. Yes.
And he's got a smartphone.
Slowly but
so now if I can get him to Skype, okay, if I can get him to Skype on here, then we can Skype Joe into the live stream at the library.
Right. Well,
I'll let you work that equation out. We'll figure it out maybe for the next one. I'll show you how to do it.
I might have to interrupt watching you because I'm taking now my nightly walk. I take a half-hour walk. We have long corridors here, so I can take full advantage of that.
It's the poltergeist hallways.
Yes.
All right. Got to call it a night, folks, because the top of the hour is coming and duty calls. So don't forget the library for tomorrow. Check out Patreon. And Joe will be on coming up on Fios 1 News Hudson Valley.
And Joe will be on Fios 1 News New Jersey and Fios 1 News Long Island.
All right, so we'll see you, hopefully we'll see you tomorrow out at the Springfield Library. All right?
And the two of us will be back on Thursday to do the post-mortem of the whatever we're going to get hit with tomorrow afternoon and evening.
Right, and then we'll look ahead to the next post-mortem.
Right.
All right, have a great night, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Well, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.